Everyone, Denise Rhymes here, your incoming president. Miss seeing you all in person, miss the hugs and all of our time together. But I wanted to talk to you a little bit today about coming to church and supporting the church. Sometimes it's really hard for me to get up on Sunday morning and make it to church. Sometimes it's really hard after work to come to church for a meeting, but the hour of Zen that I spend on Sunday morning or the time that I spend in meetings during the week really has become an important part of me. No matter how hard it is to get to church, it's always easy to be at church. I love this place. It's my spiritual home. And I venture to say that many of you experience some of the same hard parts and easy parts as well. It's a tough time out there in the world with everything that's going on. We've made some big commitments to address some of the current day issues, and I urge you to reach down into your pockets to see what you can do and how you can pledge continue to make First UU the vibrant social justice community that it's become. If you have some cash down in there in your pocket, maybe your checkbook's in your back pocket or your credit cards in your wallet in your pocket, reach in there and see what you got, see what you might be able to add to it. Make your pledge. And if you got britches on without pockets, go look somewhere else for where you might have some of your treasures that you can share with the First UU community. For all of the programs, all of the wonderful worship, all of the wonderful social service work that we do, there are hardworking people behind all of that. And we need to continue to support them financially, along with the programs, the technology, and our beautiful building that this community supports. It's not easy, just like getting up to go to church sometimes or leaving work to go to church sometimes. But we together can carry forward the great work that we've been doing. For some people, it's going to be a really hard year to do that. And if it's going to be hard for you, please talk to Reverend Logan or Reverend Jeanne or Reverend Sue. We want you to be in this community. And if you don't have the means, we have the means to help you in a variety of ways. But we want you here. So think hard about what it is you might be able to do from a financial perspective so that we can plan effectively for the coming year. And as I mentioned, continue all of the amazing work that we're not only doing, but that we've committed to do. We want to make it as easy as possible in very difficult times, continue all of our commitments, and we certainly want to continue to provide the connection, the hope, the support that we need so very much to continue our work. Thank you so much for all that you are. You are all so very easy to love.
Welcome to the First Unitarian Universalist Church of Richmond. We are a spiritual community and a center of liberal religion in Richmond with roots stretching back to 1830. My name is Tom Grahek and I'm honored to serve on your board of directors. If you're a visitor here today, our congregation welcomes you and we're so glad you're here. The church is a community guided not by a creed, but by a covenant to uphold shared principles marked by love, respect, and justice. We welcome you to live these principles with us as you continue your spiritual journey. We welcome you with all of your diverse identities as a whole, multifaceted, and beloved person. If you're new to Unitarian Universalism, we invite you to check back on our website, join our Facebook group, or reach out by email to our membership, which is membership@richmonduu.org. Membership@richmonduu.org. And I hope everyone will consider stopping by our virtual coffee hour, which starts immediately after the service on a separate Zoom link available in an email that was sent or on Facebook. And as a reminder, please do not hesitate to reach out to our staff or our care team if you are in need. I hope you enjoy a comfortable Sunday morning and be well. With that, welcome to the joyful Sunday made sacred by all of us being together, worshiping and sharing our time together.
Hi, everybody. It's a rainy day, so you find me here in my study instead of my backyard. This is a special Sunday. This is Children's Sunday, and every year we celebrate with children just exactly the things that they have been doing deep dives in and finding out more about and being curious together. It's a time where we celebrate all that they have discovered, learned, and applied in life. It is Children's Sunday, but it is a day for all of us to celebrate. Welcome to a time of worship.
We come together to remind ourselves to treat all people kindly, because they are our brothers and sisters, to take good care of the earth, because it is our home, to live lives full of goodness and love, because that is how we make our world the best place it can be.
There once was a spider named Zemina who decided to take a picnic to the country. So she packed some crumbs into her pockets and headed out. She ran down a very steep embankment and found a path to the river. She spread her little poncho out on the ground, took off her boots, and decided to lay there in the sun and enjoy her packet of crumbs. No sooner had the rustling leaves and the sound of the wind begun to relax her, but Zemina heard a cry for help. Help! Help! Zemina quickly sat up and saw a tiny spider swirling in the rushing waters of the river. Help me, please! Zemina rushed to the spider, spun a quick, silky, strong web, and cast it out into the river. The tiny spider grabbed hold of it, and Zemina pulled him to shore. Are you all right? She said. Oh yes, I'm okay. I'm just cold. And with that, The tiny spider quickly turned and ran right back upstream on the bank. Ximena decided she would just settle back in and go about her business. But no sooner had she settled into her little picnic, but once again she heard a second cry for help. Help me! Help me! Again, Ximena sat bolt upright, looked at the river, and here in its rushing waters was another tiny spider crying for help. Again, Ximena quickly cast a net of her sweet, silky threads, and out into the river it flew. The tiny spider was pulled to the shore. Are you all right? Ximena wanted to know. Oh, just cold, and, well, I'm very afraid. And that spider just turned and ran right back up the river. Ximena took a deep breath. She was beginning to feel quite tired. Settling herself back into the warm sun, she thought, thank goodness, now I can have my picnic. No sooner had those thoughts left her head than all of a sudden, yet another screaming cry for help. Ximena jumped up, spun a web, tossed it out into the river, and yet again rescued a third spider. This spider quickly ran right back up the bank like all the others and just waved, thank you, well into the distance. Ximena was exhausted. She took another deep breath and said, I cannot do this anymore. I really want to have my picnic, but I need to go upstream and see what's happening. Up around a bend, Ximena discovered an entire colony of spiders, and one of them was perched on a ledge jutting out over the rushing river. Ximena could see what was happening, and so she shouted, stop, wait. Why are you jumping into the river? Well, we must get across, said the spider. We need to get to the other side. The river is rushing and strong, and many of us don't know how to swim, but we must try. Ximena was puzzled. So she asked them, can you spin webs? Well, they all quickly nodded. Oh, yes, yes. So she said, watch me. Ximena climbed up the tree and then began leaping from branch to branch across the river, leaving behind her a silky, strong web, creating a bridge. Soon she stopped and returned to the other spiders and said, you can build webs and bridges like that too. I'll teach you. Come with me. The rest of the morning, all the spiders spent building bridges together. And then they knew they could cross rivers, large or small, whenever they needed to. Blessed be. Now let us pause for a time of silent meditation. This class has done an amazing job of staying together and supporting each other through this big change. So as we take a few minutes, I invite Reverend Jeanne to ask if she has any particular questions that she would like to pose.
Okay, thanks for inviting me in. I'm really impressed. You guys have hung tight, and that's not easy to do. I'm sure you have a lot of empathy for the seniors who wound up having to adapt everything they did, and we're going to hope, of course, that won't be something you'll deal with. But I suspect you learned a lot this year. And so, Miss Rhonda and I really want to hear what that's about for you.
Something that you experienced this year with connection to this class that was really important to you. Something about being part of First Unitarian Universalist and this particular class that has indeed been meaningful to you. And I hope you teachers too will reflect on some of your own experiences, learning, and what perhaps your joys and challenges have been this year.
When I think back on the year and think about you guys as a group, I'm so grateful and I'm so honored by how respectful and kind you guys were to one another. These are not easy conversations to have. And you guys just always, every topic, even when there was, people that disagreed about things, you guys were always able to do it in such a respectful and kind way. And I really appreciate it. And I felt like you were out of the gate like that. Like our first class, all of the teachers, we were just like, this group is just, they're lovely towards one another. They're willing to speak. And I so appreciated that. And I am so grateful that we had our Zoom time, but I am also a little sad that we weren't able to kind of finish out this year the way we had intended. So while I appreciated continuing to see you guys' faces on Zoom, I am also missing a bit of the fact that we didn't continue some of those conversations. And I'm just so grateful to each and every one of you. So thank you so much.
Who else would be willing to share next? Thank you, Sylvie.
I feel like I'm a person who really doesn't like questions about my future. Before we had to go on Zoom, that really helped me look at things in a better view, especially like starting high school next year and stuff. I just was able to set myself up for high school and help me through college and my entire life.
I was thinking, like, during the school year when we went to church in our class, like, we would have some days where we would have so many people in the room that we had to get more chairs and like tap them and like scoot out to the wall so that everyone could sit in the circle. And like just like having that to remember, like now especially where we're not able to share a room all together, is really great.
We had that very first meeting that was like 3 hours that felt like, going into it, I was expecting it to take a long time. By this point, I had realized that I would prefer to be doing RE and OWL than not doing it, but I still felt like around the halfway point or somewhere in there, I would just lose interest. But almost immediately, I found people, like, I liked everybody in the group. There didn't really seem to be anybody who would just really legitimately did not want to be there. Everyone seemed interested and engaged, and it really helped it progress. I actually enjoyed the whole time there, and it was a long class.
I've taught this age group outside of OWL. Some of you all are my former students from before, the class before this, and it just reminded me how much I appreciate this age group. And I teach teenagers at my job in high school, but we don't really get to have that many personal discussions or talk about life in general. And so it was great to connect with folks this age and just hear your thoughts and what's going through your head as you transition into middle school or being in 8th grade. And it's just good to hear your thoughts and then also hear, like Sylvia saying, the confidence you gain from the discussions and just the little bit of time that we were in class, just to watch your confidence grow and be able to feel more confident to ask questions. That was encouraging to see. I wasn't sure how folks would handle the discussions with this type of topic, and I was really impressed. Really enjoyed it.
I'll echo some of my fellow teachers in the genuine interest and care that our classmates have shown, both while we were together in person and since we have gone to a virtual space. We had a class about finding beauty and resilience and how we're finding hope these days, and whether we were meeting in person or now when we get to check in for a little bit on Sundays. That has really been a source of beauty that helps me be resilient. So thank you, because it's been really important for me. So I appreciate every single one of you.
Are there any other thoughts that you would like to share? Experiences perhaps you remember? Tegwin, thank you.
Okay, it's kind of short. It's just that, it was a great group and it was great spending time with everyone.
What do you think might stick and stay with you from what you've gone through and learned this year? What's your biggest learning, whether it comes from COVID or OWL or just from hanging out with each other?
Can I talk? For me, like, this is kind of just like talking to different people in the class, but like, we're all like really different. Like at school, like we might like hang out with each other if we all went to the same school, but like I don't really know like if we'd all be in the same friend group, but like
if you talk to someone like that maybe you wouldn't talk to, like, they will listen, you know, if you listen to them and you expect for them to like understand what you're saying. You know, if you talk to someone, they will most likely listen.
Sylvie had her hand up. Sylvie, you want to share?
Yeah, and I feel like this is sort of the purpose of OWL, but I just definitely thinking about my actions and thinking about my decisions, my future, and being able to talk about, you know, hard subjects with other people. I was able to think about them and really digest, you know, really digest that without it being, you know, like, oh, I don't want to face that. And I felt like that, especially with the other people in that class, that was that made it really nice.
Well, Miss Rhonda and I thank you very much for sharing with us and letting us into your meeting time. I'm sorry I was still driving, but remember, always go the extra mile to be kind to people. Try hard to do that. Miss Rhonda told us a story about a spider that saw something happening that wasn't so good and tried to help and then said, I want to be curious about this and find out what's really going on, and then was able to really help a lot of people. It's a good story. I think if most of us saw something bad going on, we'd try to help. But sometimes the first thing we think about isn't the best way to help. Just ask everyone. Everybody's had an experience where you kind of had to learn. Maybe your first response isn't the best. Maybe there's a better one. So this year we started out our normal church. We had services in the large, great hall. We had coffee hour afterwards. We had classes all over the building. And we had the candy dish on Miss Desiree's desk, and we had climbing and playing with our friends. It was normal. And then came a pandemic. A pandemic means across all the people, everyone was at risk. And it was certainly perfectly fine for people to have a first response that was maybe fearful, and then to say, I'm going to help people. I'm going to make masks. I'm going to do things so that everybody could be safe. Don't worry, I'm in an office alone. But then we started to say to ourselves, how can we really help? So there were people without jobs. There's people who had to change from being in a classroom to doing homework and watching class on TV, and who just struggled to try to make an adjustment. Why are these people at home all the time? And is it safe to go out at all? Those are questions that are reasonable. We get curious about them. We try to work out answers that make sense. So when the pandemic came, we all had to think differently about how we could help and how we could set aside fear, because it's not something we could do a whole lot about, but we could do a lot of things about taking care of each other and being safe. So now, when we go out, we always put on our mask. We don't go to school in the building. We don't go to church. We will one day do that again. But what we're learning right now is how to help people by being resilient. Being resilient means that we find things that are good in the changes that we experience. We adapt, we adjust, we roll with the punches, some people say. What it means is that we have to believe that we can make changes and find happiness and contentment within those changes, even if it isn't always our favorite thing. So it's kind of nice to have a lot of family time. It's good to learn how to cook. Maybe you've become a sourdough person and You've learned about how sourdough can help make bread rise. Maybe you've been curious about how to fix your own bicycle, or maybe you've gotten into gardening. You've decided to plant some things and help them grow. The situation we're in calls on us to adapt, to do things a little differently, and find out that we not only can be happy, but sometimes we can be happier. Just look at all the people who don't have to commute long distances to go to work now. A lot of them are very, very happy with that. So, I just want to remind us all that even when a dark, difficult time hovers around us, we are resilient. And that is the big lesson we learned in this year's religious education teaching. Our teachers prepared lessons on different topics. We talked about different things. We saw different pictures. We imagined what it would be like in other people's lives. But the reality is, we learned a whole different set of things about our life. And so, our learning of the unexpected taught us one important thing: that as long as we have friends and family, we're going to get through these difficult times. And believe me, we know they're difficult times. But through Zoom, through drive-by birthday parties, through walks, and learning how to do things like to knit or to crochet or to garden, we actually are building up the wisdom we hold so that in the future, when people need our help, we actually know some things about how we can help. So this is the last Sunday of our church religious education year, Children's Sunday. It's a celebration of everything that's been learned, from the newest babies in the nursery to the eldest people in the congregation. What have we learned, and how, as a result, have we become helpful and resilient people? This is a year you will never forget. You will tell people about this year way, 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 way later in your life. You'll remember it and try to figure out, what was it like? I can't remember exactly. What did I learn? And you can say this: I learned that I was resilient, that no matter the circumstance, I always had an opportunity to think about how I might respond, to choose a way to respond that was within my values, and also which allowed me to learn new things. The year of resilience. Thanks for being in this year with all of us. Blessed be. Ashe, Amin, Amen.
There's a land that I see where the children are free, and I say it ain't far to this land from where we are. Take my hand, come with me, where the children are free. Come with me, take my hand, and we'll live. Here
this land grows to be his own man.
In this land, every girl grows to be her own woman. Take my hand, come with me, where the children are free. Come with me, take my hand, and we'll run to a land where the river runs free, to a land through the green country, to a land, to a shining sea, to a land where the horses run free, to a land where the children are free, and you and me are free to be.
And you and me are free to be.
And you and me are free to be. You and me.
The Richmond SPCA, founded in 1891, holds forth a bold mission. At all time and in every way, we are advocates for animals. We provide for their safety and comfort, strive to alleviate their suffering, and work to place them in homes to provide a responsible lifetime commitment to them. We speak out publicly to promote and defend their interests. We oppose all forms of animal cruelty. We promote spaying and neutering to achieve and retain a no-kill community. We oppose any taking of the lives of healthy or treatable animals and do not participate in such conduct ourselves. We provide services to promote responsible pet ownership and humane attitudes towards all life. Approximately 1,200 volunteer staff keep this mission strong and thriving here in Greater Richmond. In doing so, only 8% of their annual budget is devoted to administration. During this pandemic, they have continued to faithfully care for and place animals in loving homes. As so many other organizations, the funds are stretched. Knowing many of us enjoy the innumerable ways in which pets enrich our lives, and in keeping with our Unitarian Universalist 7th principle to affirm and promote the interdependent web of existence of which we are all a part, we encourage you to give generously to the Richmond SPCA.
This community is privileged to have, and I am so honored to work with a team of 24 dedicated teachers and staff. Their praises really cannot be shouted loudly enough. A number of the teachers on this team have served this congregation for 8 years. And one of our nursery staff is now hitting the 10-year mark. So how does this happen? Most often, teachers volunteer by saying they want to contribute or to give back. And in this process of contributing, of giving back, they notice their lives have begun to change. At our teacher meeting back in January, they were all asked to answer this question: has teaching impacted your spiritual life? If so, how? As you enjoy sharing these pictures of our teaching teams, I would like you to hear some of their answers. One of our nursery staff commented, "I love teaching in the nursery. It's a great source of happiness. My favorite part is getting to build relationships with the children and parents. It's truly beautiful to see how each one develops and changes as they get older." Our pre-K teachers said, "I feel like I get more from the kids when teaching than I give to them. Teaching creates a desire to learn new things, new ideas for me, It helps me reassess my perspective. From grades 1 and 2, we heard, for me, teaching has been a ministry. I feel like I have a small role in instilling you values in the young ones in our congregation and with each other in ways that they do not experience in the day-to-day school setting. From grades 3 and 4, there was this expression, teaching enriches my spiritual life because connection is the key to spirituality for me. And in grade 5, 6, being present for and helping facilitate these loving interactions and challenges brings my spirituality into actuality. Grade 7, 8. This year, the team taught OWL. The one-on-one interactions and the manifestation of the uniting force of love that I experience is the foundation of my spiritual beliefs. And from grades 9 and 12, those teachers who work to prepare and usher our oldest ones into bridging. I explore topics I would not have otherwise gotten to. And in preparing to teach, I build more connections to other areas in my life. I encourage you to thank these teachers, either through the chat feature today, or emails, or even good old-fashioned phone calls and notes. Our entire church community is strengthened by their dedication and their service to us. Blessed be.
Have you had a chalice burning during our worship service? Well, this is the portion of time where we extinguish our chalice. And when we do so, we make a mental reminder to ourselves. We remind ourselves that when this flame is extinguished, we have to carry what is ultimate and true and beautiful that was in this service out to that world. So, as we extinguish this chalice, remember, this community is itself a symbol of love and care and justice, and we're going to carry that into our day. We go forward now to serve a world of justice, to build community, and to find a way to spread love. May it be so. Blessed be.